Howdy, Possum Patty from Pennsylvania here with an episode of Plays with Pencils using Colored Pencils 101. So I'm making some items to put into my Boho journal. And the theme on my Boho journal is elephants. And a couple of years ago I was gifted a couple of these little pads of coloring pages. Oh, there's another elephant. And mostly I've been just ripping these up and using them as little bits of collage pieces when doing mixed media. But because my elephant theme in my Boho journal, I found two elephants in this book. And one is this little one here, which I'm going to have to color in. And this larger one, which I'm working on right now. Now this had more to the page, so it was like that. But I took the bottom part off. I might save these for later. And I've been working on coloring this in. So I just want to share with you a couple of tips about using colored pencils for coloring. Now I know a lot of people out there already use color pencils because they've been making cards and they use it to color in their stamps and things. But here's how I get dimension when I use my colored pencils. First of all, I made the elephant purple. He has purple skin, but I used a dark indigo in the shadows. And I use a darker color underneath some of the designs to give it a little bit of a shadow to make it more 3D. Another thing that I do is right down the center, I go over some of the black lines with a black micron pen to make the black right in the front a little bit darker and clearer and sharper. Now I don't do it to the edges because I want the black to sort of fade out that way. So I want the center to pop out. And because the purple is a cooler color, I put a warmer color right in the center of his nose. Another thing that I like to do is add some white highlights. And nothing brings out a little black dot like putting a little white dot in the center. And as you can see on some of these little designs, I added a darker color underneath to give them a little bit of a shadow. Another thing to think about is your color families, and you want colors next to each other. They're going to make the colors pop. So if you use opposite colors on the color wheel, like a red and a green, it makes those colors pop. So I'm going to be using my Prismacolor colored pencils. This is a set of 36. And the first thing you do is pick out a few color families. Now I went with a purple elephant because purple is my favorite color. And then pink, because it goes nicely with the purple. But you don't just want pink. You want a light pink, a darker pink, and a crimson red. So this is a color family. And then I have light green and a darker green and a very dark green and sort of a bluish green right there, or greenish blue. Then a light blue, a medium blue, and a dark blue, and a dark indigo, which you can use for shadows. And then I also took out a gold and sort of a light peachy color to do the trunk with. And I have my Uniball white for accents and my Micron black. And when you start with colored pencils, they should be sharp. So I have my colored pencil sharpeners here. And I tried to get them all sharp, but they're already looking a little dull. So you need to constantly sharpen your color pencils when you're working with them. So I keep a sharpener handy and I just sharpen them up. Should do this on camera, right? So you got to keep them nice and sharp. I'm having a problem with my chartreuse because the lead on the inside of this pencil is broken, so every time you sharpen it, the tip tends to fall out. And I don't have much left, and I need it to finish my picture, so I need to be careful with that one and not sharpen it too much. All right, I'm going to push these over to the side a little bit and zoom in on my elephant face. Okay, I finished this ear. And on patterns like this, I don't color every single concentric circle here a different color. I go with the color family. Same thing with these little swirls. I went with the blue color family, and again with the red color family, and then the green color family. And I went and used some purple on the very edge to kind of tie it in with his face. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take a design that looks like this and make it look like this. And notice how it's darker towards the edges, and there's a little bit of a shadow underneath the chevron and a little white dot on the tip, and then it goes to dark again over here. So I'm going to start with the lightest color. And I'm going to color right over the black because I don't care about the black being dark because this is moving out towards the edge of the picture. So I'm going to not make it too heavy. I'm going to use a light hand and just color the whole thing pink. You don't want to press too hard because then, especially with a paper that is pretty smooth, it doesn't have a lot of tooth to it, so it's not going to hold a lot of pencil color. So I put a light layer of the light pink. Then I'm going to take, this is a lighter, it says processed red, which means it's kind of like a magenta. And again, pressing not too hard. Start at the top and the bottom and just put in a little bit. And sometimes I put more around the edge than in the middle. And I'm going to jump down here to the bottom. Put some of this down here. Not pressing anywhere too hard yet. And then I'm going to take the darker red, and this is crimson, pressing a little bit harder now. Add this at the top and the bottom, maybe some along the edge. And jump down to here and do the same thing. Okay, I want to put a little shadow underneath the chevrons. So I'm going to take the darkest red, put a little bit underneath. Okay, now you're going to take the lightest color, so I'm going to go back to the pink again and use this like a blending tool. So starting at the very edge, I'm going to kind of blend these colors together. And now you can start pressing a little harder, filling it in, and blending these colors together. Go all the way down. now you're starting to get a nice smooth cover here with the color. And then some places, like especially along the edge there, just go back over and make sure I've got some solid cover right to the edge of the design. Okay, now looking at both sides, looks pretty good. Looks like I have a little bit more red underneath the chevrons on this side. So I'm just going to put a little bit more. Using the darkest pencil here. Okay, now that's what it looked like before I added the little white dots. So you can see what a big difference that makes. So I'm going to take the Uniball pen, Uniball white, and a lot of times you got to scribble with this, so let me find a little piece of scrap paper here to get the little ink flowing. And I just put a little dot at the tip of the chevron. And now that side is done. And I have a green next to the red to make the colors pop. And I start with the lightest green, which I'm running out of, so I got to be careful here. Again, not pressing too hard, just put a light coat on there. We're going to be using this as a blender in a few minutes. We'll put that aside. I'm going with the medium green, and again at the top, blending in some of the medium green and just fading it out. Going to the bottom, doing the same thing. And then finding the darkest green. This is my green color family. Whoops. Now when you have colored pencils, it's really good to keep them in the case, like inside the box. These little grooves to hold them still. Because if you rattle them around too much, it really does break the lead on the inside. And then you're constantly sharpening because you have a broken tip. It's also important to have a really sharp razor inside your pencil sharpener, because the dull ones will also kind of break your lead. Okay, going to the very edge of the green, putting in some of that dark. I feel like my tip's going to break again. About as far as I did with the red. And then go back to the bottom. This is really pretty green. Maybe I'll put some more medium in there, coming around the curve here. So with each layer you can press a little harder. The first layer should be light though. And then again taking the lightest green and going over the whole thing like a blending tool, making sure I get along the edge. And then I have the green. And again on this one, I put the white dots, so I'm going to do the same on this side. My Uniball. Just going down the row, putting a white dot. When I was a kid, I just loved coloring books. Coloring all the time. I love to draw, but I also love coloring books. So I think a lot of my sketches in my sketchbooks tend to have a black micron outline in them, and then I either use colored pencils or watercolors to color them in. Maybe because I spent too much time in coloring books when I was a kid. So this is just a peek into my journal that I draw and paint and color in, but I just wanted to show you what I was talking about how everything has a little black line around it, and then I color it in. So I guess that's the coloring book effect. See, even these little flowers have black lines. Little mushroom, it's black lines. If you're interested in this kind of journaling, you can go to my nature journaling videos, where I take a little walk and sketch what I see, and then sometimes paint outside, sometimes paint inside. But I have over 100 nature journaling videos where I do this sketching and painting. As you can see, everything's got a little black line. Okay, next to the green, I have blue. Some blue swirly things. Now each side of this is a little bit different, but almost the same. So I'm going to go with the blue family, and I have, that's the medium, that's the light. That's a darker one. And I also have this indigo, which is very dark. This is like a violet blue. I think I used this with the purple for the elephant. The skin over here. So starting with the lightest color, making sure I got the right color here, yeah. I'm just going to color the whole thing in very lightly, all this swirly part, just to kind of mark the part I'm working on. There's a little bit down here. I can zoom in a little bit more on this. Is that good? Okay, so we have the light blue, nice and light, a little bit down here. The darkest blue is in the center of the swirl. So starting at the center of swirl and working out with medium pressure now, adding some of this medium blue. So the light color gets the lightest pressure to start with, and then the medium one gets more of a medium pressure. And then I'm going to the darkest blue. And pressing a little harder in the center of the little swirl. And I'm going to go back to the, let's see, I'm going to add a little bit more medium in here. So basically I've used 3 color families here. The pink to the red, the light green to the dark green, and the light blue to the dark blue. On the designs, I left the purple for the skin of the elephant. You want to have bright colors and a variety of colors, but you don't want it such a mishmash that it's, when you look at it, your eye just like goes crazy. So that's why I didn't change the colors in here. Like each circle is not a different color, but just different shades of the same color. And repeated the colors over again. Because you want a really nice smooth pattern and not something that's just going to make your eyes go crazy. Something your eyes can follow. So I'm putting the medium green here. And the darker green rolled away. Here it is, dark green. A little dark green there. Down here at the tip. I'll go back to the light green, kind of blend that in a little bit. Put a little bit medium there. You want a nice smooth transition. A nice smooth color change from one shade of green to the other. See, even in these really small spaces, it's really dark at the ends and it's lighter in the middle. And on this pink, there's a little darker red there and it gets light in the middle and it gets darker again. This large space was a little hard, so I used the different blues on here and the darker blue underneath the tusk to give it a little bit of the shadow to make the tusk stand out. Now all I have to do is put a little white dot in the center of this little flower designs. And there you have it. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do something a little bit different now. I have this dry gouache, and gouache is like an opaque watercolor. And this is made by Schmecki. It's a German company, and this is gold. So I'm going to take it, it's just like a gold powder. This is a gift from my friend Kay, and I'm going to take this and mix a little bit with some water. I'm going to put a little bit of this powder in here, just a little bit using the brush. It's a very fine powder. You put a little water on the brush, mix it around. Just added another drop of water in there. I don't need very much, because what I'm going to do with this, after I get it blended, is I'm going to paint these rings on his tusk with a little bit of a gold. I need a rag. Just want to give them a little shine, a little extra dimension. This is why it takes me so long to do a journal, because I don't have very many things made ahead of time. I tend to make things for each journal as I go along. And I might sit 2 days and color an elephant just to make one page in the journal. I don't really want it to cover the black line though. I'm putting the gold over the chartreuse green. I might go again over those black lines after this dries. Well, my boho elephant is all colored in, and I pasted him down to the center of the first signature of my boho journal. I have to wait for the glue to dry before I fold it, and then I will tuck it in there. So I just want to thank you for coming along today, and happy coloring. Bye-bye now.